Hello and welcome everyone to Trailblazing Back to Our Roots, Liberating from the Spell and Awakening Our Divine Nature. I am so honored that you're taking the time to be here, to gather around this virtual fire, to listen to these amazing speakers who have literally come from all around the world. This truly is a global confluence that we all are meeting together through these different streams of the four directions. I am so honored to have at this circle some of my own roots trailblazing back to Sami land in Finland, as well as trailblazers from south down under in Australia, where some of our oldest roots of humanity are still sharing their songs and their lineage. And also just, though we don't have every direction represented here, every one of us as this human family is welcome here to be connecting in this sacred fire and to listen to these amazing timely messages of how we can reconnect with our human family and reconnect with nature. We are in such radical changing times right now, and these conversations are so important. And I just feel so honored to be able to host these conversations with you this week. My name is Liisa Korpela, and I am so thankful for you taking your time to be here to liberate your mind, awaken your divine nature, and trailblaze back to your roots. And in this container, I would just love to have this opportunity to just invite us all to really have this opportunity to open our minds and listen into these possibilities that are being shared through all these different diverse um, people from around the globe. And this is a invitation for us to really step into our greatness. We all need in this time of, as we move into this Aquarian age, to step into our role as leaders and our leadership roles, that we all have unique contribution and messages to share at this time. And so you are invited to come here and to activate your greatness and to have these possibilities to open up different perspectives that you might not have seen before. And as we do this around this, gathering around this fire, also when we take on these roles of leadership, that we take on self responsibility, that we lead ourselves forward. And so these are really important pieces as we come around the fire to claim and name as the sacred learning container of how we can move away from victimized consciousness into a way of taking action and claiming our power and possibility. So I'm so honored to be in this learning container with these amazing teachers and leaders and visionaries and wisdom keepers. And it's really, truly that I've learned through my mentor, Dr. Claire Zamet, that we cannot become ourselves by ourselves. We really do need every single one of these diverse voices of our human family to come together to help create new possibilities for the world before us. So, with that, I'm so honored to actually have the opportunity to be here in this space with my co host today, Cindy Ann Mathers. And she is a delight and a wisdom keeper and has been bringing such great support and collaboration for this project for me. I am so thankful to have her presence here. Thank you, Cindy, for being here.
Thank you, Liisa. It's been an absolute joy and honour for me to be a part of this and to really just see it unfold and amazing souls from all around the world be called to come and be part of this virtual fire. So it's my honour to introduce you, Liisa. And, you've just created a wonderful opportunity here to share from our hearts and to broaden our horizons and really think differently, which is what it's going to take. So, Liisa Korpela is a visionary and a transformational leader who, through her presence and grounded essence, holds the space for the sacred to emerge, like the lotus from the mud. Through her wisdom and guidance in her teaching, coaching, and facilitation, She activates people into deeper connection to their essence and gifts, unlocking insights and revealing their greatest selves. A daughter of immigrants, her ancestral roots run back to the Arctic Circle in Finland. She was born and raised in the Midwest of the United States, and as an adult, transplanted herself to the Pacific Northwest. It is here where she began expanding her exploration into reconnecting with her roots in nature. With over 30 years of experience as a medicine maker, a teacher, a truth seeker, Liisa has cultivated a talent for revealing the nourishing potential and possibilities in others and the situations they find themselves in. With her expertise in herbalism and shamanism, she brews up a potent medicine for her clients and students. From scaling the heights of Machu Picchu to meditating in the crypts of the Great Pyramids in Egypt, her wisdom traverses new horizons and uncharted territory. Liisa is rooted in the Emerald Valley of Oregon with her husband and daughter. She teaches, coaches, and facilitates both online and in person, locally, nationally, and internationally. Through my personal experience being coached, mentored, and sponsored by Liisa, I see her as a midwife of change. Liisa is widely read and has researched extensively into areas that many of us are unable or don't dare to go. She is a truth seeker who has amazing capacity to digest and integrate diverse information and use it for good, like creating this wonderful confluence together. She's doing what Buckminster Fuller said needed to be done. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model. That makes the existing model obsolete. So I've been blessed to be behind the scenes of the creation of this summit and honoured to preview the speakers as they've come in. And Liisa has attracted speakers from all over the world who really just were attracted to the idea of trailblazing back to our roots and having these deep conversations that you won't hear on mainstream. This is like people looking for different ways up the mountain. And so, these are people who are doing unique and extraordinary things because they're actively engaged in creating the world they would like to live in. So, and all of them have actually valued the safe, sacred container that Liisa has created, and have felt safe to really speak from their hearts and share what's possible. So it's a rich gathering of souls who are really speaking their truth in this confluence. And we are in times of unprecedented change. And now is the time to start listening deeply to each other and to learn from each other as we create a new model for our world. So the old does become obsolete. So, Liisa, I'm excited to hear about your topic, rooted into your radical divinity. However, before we get started, I would love to know what inspired this virtual fire with people from all around the world.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Cindy, and for being here, holding space with me. And yes, I'm so excited to dive into this topic and just share with you my passion about creating this summit. And as we start this journey and share this wisdom, I want to go back to my roots of being this transplant in the Midwest, as you suggested in my bio. So yeah, I am a daughter of immigrants. Both my parents are from Finland, and we moved to the Midwest for because of my parents' work. So we didn't really have a sense of home or family around us, and it definitely felt like I was kind of a transplant from some other place, losing the mother tongue, not learning the language, and then losing all of these, the essence of the culture that my parents had grown up in. And, we had little morsels of the culture in our home, eating hard rye bread, which is literally a cracker with Swiss cheese instead of having peanut butter and jelly like all my friends were having. But we also just it was very much a different I didn't have a sense of family and I didn't have a sense of the land and the landscape that I was living on because this wasn't a place that my ancestors had been walking for millennia. And so I was always kind of questing and looking for this connection with nature and reconnecting with my own roots. And as I got older, when I was in high school, my friends and I were going camping, and we were going to these campgrounds, and they were all state parks where I grew up. And I just thought it was really odd that we couldn't just drive out to the woods and go camping anywhere. And so I had somebody was like, "Well, you can't just go camping out in the woods and like drive up." And they're like, "No, you can do that, but you only can do that in a national forest." And so that got me really curious of like, where are the national forests in this country? And so I looked on the map, and the Pacific Northwest was the greenest place on the map. So I knew I wanted to go out there. And so that's how I found myself transplanted out to the Pacific Northwest to start my studies at the university. And when I moved to this location, I remember the first time I came over from the foothills from California and coming into the valley, I had this just real calmness and sense of home that I had found this sense of home. I loved the landscape around me with the fir trees and redwoods and ferns and moss and just the beautiful landscape that was rich with the mountains and the ocean and all of this beautiful nature landscape around me. So I just fell in love with this area and really fell in love with putting my roots down here and creating my life, my dream, my family. And so as I got here, I started the adventure of studying biology. And in order to kind of balance my mind with all the scientific studies, I also started diving into art and textile art. Got really fascinated into plant dyeing and how to use plant dyes for creating art. And in my biological studies, I loved biology. I loved nature. I loved figuring out how the world worked and how it was interconnected. And so I was really passionate about just this journey of learning about nature. And as I started going through my studies through several years, I realized a lot of the interest in this field was being moved into this world of genetic engineering. And this was the beginning of really a lot of these studies and the development of this work. And and it was always just felt so wrong to me. I felt in my body this sense of what are we doing? How do we how do we have such a hubris nature that thinks that we can change genetic code and that we're going to have the same, uh, outcome in nature in our life? If we changed one key on the piano, the music is going to be very different. And so I felt just so resistant to where this technology and this progress was leading us, especially in this world of biology. And so I found myself kind of um, finding a different path as I finished my studies there, and really starting to get inspired with listening to the plants and to nature. And I found myself on the herbal path, studying with different doing apprenticeships and learning however I can at the time through books that were not as prolific as they are now, and also just really spending time being in nature, connecting to plants, and learning to listen in a whole new way that I had never really experienced before. So this really inspired me into diving into this herbal path and diving into this deepening this connection with the natural world around me. And it was so amazing to realize how, the apothecary of nature was surrounding us. Like we had all the medicines that we need to create health and well-being within us. And we are this miraculous self healing organism. And with the support of nature, we are able to find health and well-being in these beautiful plant medicines that surround us. So that just really got me inspired to go down this herbal path, connect with nature, and learn more about how these sacred medicines, these plant medicines, can be part of our um, repertoire and our apothecary. So, yeah, that's a little bit about my background. But so this passion of mine, reconnecting with nature, is really the foundation of this summit. And I see the world right now is we're moving through really cataclysmic, radically changing times. We see, extinction level events happening, ecosystems collapsing. And right now we're in a world that is being hypnotized by these ideas of progress, and that progress is what is going to solve our solution, is going to be the solution to these problems. Yet progress and these ideation of progress actually is the problem, so it's not our solution. So to really start to move away from um, these ideas of these reductionist, materialistic mindsets that are breaking all of our parts up and not really seeing the interconnectedness of this web of life and how sacred and important that is. So that really became, the intelligence of this conference, like trailblazing back to our roots. We this trail has been overgrown. The bush is in, the shrubs are in the way, and yet the trail has been walked by our ancestors for millennia, of how to be sacred stewards of our beloved Mother Earth, how to be guardians of all of the creatures on this planet. And so it's time for us to take off our shoes and to feel the earth and to remember how our ancestors walked in harmony and balance with this planet, and as we walk down the trail, like, here's the possibility to, meander down to the babbling brook, and then walk over to that grand tree, that elder tree that can share shade and connection with you. And all of those parts of the trail were a really important part of our connection with nature, which there's so many great conversations that happen in the summit that really deepen this idea of how nature is communicating with us through story and song and its own intelligence. So yeah.
Oh, thanks, Lisa. That's so rich. And you alluded to that we've been under a bit of a spell, and that's sort of part of the conference title as well is. And so I'm just really interested because, how do we realize that, recognize it, and liberate from it?
Yeah, this is such a key piece to what I'm seeing in the breakdown of what is happening in our society right now. Is we we're being told that we're in a climate crisis, and yes, we are in a crisis of how our environments are being taken care of. Yet I find the root of our crisis is actually our consciousness. Our consciousness is in crisis of how we relate to one another and how we relate to nature. So we have, for millennia, have been taught through stories and narratives and indoctrination, a breaking apart of our humanity. And this is a strategy of the divide and conquer, the master and slave, these reductionist parts of division that literally are tearing apart the fabric of our humanity right now. And I think, a lot of the viewers and people in the audience who are listening to this feel this great calling of, we need change, we need restoration, and we need to reweave this fabric of life together right now. And so this divide and conquer consciousness Also rooted in this dominion, or like this dominator dichotomous thinking, that one is over the other. So this is a really important piece for us to reclaim our own authority and leadership in our lives, and also to weave together that, we are being divided by races and religions and genders, and these and when we are in the mindset of the red and the blue, it's either or, and we're not living in the possibility of that they are red and blue, and together red and blue becomes this purple, this sovereignty of ourselves. So when we step out of these conversations of division, we can actually reclaim and restore our humanity, our all unique voices, yet the similarity of our human family and experience. And as I've dove deeper and deeper into this conversation of this spell, we literally have the spell being worked with us through spelling, through words and stories and conversations, right? And so these narratives, which are now moving into propaganda, are really creating this conversation that we are infants, that we're children, in we should just listen to what is we are being told, and we should follow suit. So this to me is what we really need to liberate and become the adult in the room, to really realize that we have power and possibility, and we have our own intelligence and awareness that is really important right now to be brought into the circle of how we want this world to look. And so also, as I've dove, deeper into this concept of the division, as I burrow deeper and deeper into the divisions of, you know, our connection to the land, that the eco side of us being taken away from land, that we are a part, not part of nature, that we are the dominator on top of nature, that we are the one who is extracting and controlling and having this intention, that we are not actually in this web of life. And this has become so destructive, this mindset that we have dominion over nature. So that to me is one of the crucial pieces that we need to really tap back into. And when we tap back into that intelligence, at some point before the generations of colonization that happened throughout all history, there is an indigenous spirit within each of us, and that indigenous spirit was one that was connected to nature, to really feeling um, that reverence and that sacred reciprocity in the web of life. So as I started this conference, interestingly, I had this really, really powerful dream. And I woke up in the morning. It was one of those lucid dreams when you're kind of in and out. And I saw this person, and they were laying on the ground, and their guts had been ripped open and eviscerated, and their guts are spewing out on the side. And out of the guts came this huge rainbow python serpent, and it was moving out and moving out, and it was just starting to gobble and it consume, and it was just this clear message: it is time to consume this old timeline. And a lot of people are talking about the timeline as we go, all these quantum conversations, but it really just brought this intelligence to me of how this old way of being, of not connected to nature, like really needs to be reconstructed and really needs to be digested and transformed. And as this intelligence of the rainbow serpent and this powerful dream came to me through this journey, the rainbow serpent kept on making its appearance. And really through indigenous cultures, I know in the Aboriginal down in Australia, there's a great story about how, when you get to the bottom of everything, there is we are the rainbow serpent, that rainbow serpent is the indigenous spirit, one deeply connected into the landscape, into land, into relationship with it. So that really inspired me, because I know there's stories of rainbow serpents all around the world that actually remind us of this intelligence of our um, deep connection with land. So also, as I dive into this conversation of breaking apart our deep connection with land, breaking apart this part of our spirit that was connected as an indigenous spirit, I've also, see the world that we are so rapidly moving into this reductionist thinking as this way towards progress. And um, I so admire the work of Vandana Shiva. She's a quantum physicist and she's a leader of food sovereignty in India. And she brings up this great quote about that the intelligence of nature and people is being replaced by institutions of intelligence as surveillance. So the latest endeavors of the mechanistic mind is to reduce the world to fragments of information broken down further into data. Data is being treated as the new raw material, simultaneously given the status of intelligence. However, data is not knowledge, and data processing is not intelligence. S- wow, I just love that line, that idea, and what she is bringing forth here. Literally spelling the word intelligence to mean something else. That intelligence is now this place of surveillance instead of this deeper knowing and knowledge. And so that to me is a really crucial piece for us to be aware of as we are moving through these technocratic, technological innovations so rapidly. Progress is happening so rapidly, and it is so important for us to come back around the fire and have conversations of what it means to be human, what we value about our humanity, and what we are not willing to let go of as we are tempted with all these different technological innovations.
Oh, wow. There's a lot of information to digest in that, Lisa. And this is what I've come to love about you. You pull in all this knowledge and wisdom from all over the place that I've never heard about. And, really bring to our attention how true and how aware we need to be of what's going on in the world that, we don't hear about. And I'm a great fan of her work as well. And I just think we've got some amazing leaders who are really putting their necks out and really putting their own lives on the line to bring this information out. And what we're finding is some extraordinary truths. And so I'm just wondering, and so you sort of talked about um, how we're being steered in the direction of technology and that that's going to be our big solution, when in fact, we are the solution. Um, and I love the way you sort of looked a bit at sovereignty and also tapping into our own divine nature. Maybe you could share a little bit more about that for us.
Yes, yes, I love this conversation. And so when we really want to tap into our own divine nature and to our own sovereignty, we first have to look at these ideas of how as well this spell has manifested in our human consciousness. And so the spell can manifest sometimes very personal, is a personal limiting belief structures that we live in scarcity, that I'm not enough or I'm too much, or that I'm not worth it. And that all of these beliefs are wrapped around something that's exterior to us, that somebody else is going to give us our worth, and somebody else is going to validate us. And this is so important to reclaim our own power, into liberating ourselves from these limiting belief systems, which are pretty much BS. And so, how can we awaken to our own divine nature and liberate ourselves from these mindsets that literally have been spelled, through our own families, on our own culture, and also ancestrally and collectively? We also have these spells around us and a collective psychosis of um, keeping us in these ideas of progress and how to move forward. And so it's really important for us to um, bring awareness to our own personal limiting beliefs, and then also how we have inherited these beliefs through our ancestry, through the violence and trauma that is in literally written in our DNA. And so these really important pieces of ancestral healing are being brought forth at this conference. But so we have to liberate this deeper um, part of ourselves, as well as liberate from this collective amnesia that we're experiencing. Paul Levy's work brings forth the idea of Watiko, which is an indigenous term from Turtle Island here, to be the mind virus. That this is the cannibalistic consciousness that eats itself, and it thrives by hiding in the shadows. And so right now we have an opportunity to take the flashlight out and to really bring awareness into this consciousness that keeps on wanting to hide from us in order to keep power through fear and control. So these are really important things for our humanity to wake up how we are being spelled into a mind virus. And also we see that, through technology, we are losing culture. We are losing our sense of connectivity. And we are being divided and separated, and we find ourselves depressed and anxious and feeling so alone in this world where we have all this technology that keeps us connected. So it's the paradox, right? Because it's so amazing that we're using this technology to gather around the world, to be at this virtual fire, to have these amazing conversations. Without this technology, this would not be possible. Yet, these are not the solutions to keep the human family and the fabric of life intact. We need to use these as tools, not to become its servant. And when we're looking at this world of technological solutions that are talking about creating a transhuman world or a post-human world, we have to ask ourselves, what does that mean? What and why would we want to go live in a world that was post-human? And Greg Braden's been bringing this work out front with his new book, Pure Human, and it's such an important topic right now because right now we are on the precipice of integrating with so much technology that um, and potentially losing our own humanity in this evolutionary process. And we look at the world and we see bio everything, and to me, the reclamation of our sacred biology is one of the most important conversations that we should be having. And we have biodiversity and we have bioenergetics and we're biophotonic and there's bioluminescence. And now we're also working in this world that is bridging bioengineering, bioinformatics, bioeconomy, biobricks, and biotechnology, merging our bio with technology. So, what does that mean? What is this convergence with our biology and this digital technology? This is a very important conversation that we should be having, especially right now. So I am passionate about planting these seeds that we start to activate this awareness and making really conscious choices as we move forward with all of this incredible technology being dangled in front of us. So I kind of got on a sidetrack or deep dive into technology, and I didn't really tap into what it is to foster our divine nature. And when I think about our divine nature, Greg Braden also brings this word into our collective awareness that, we think of divinity as something kind of religious, and we're maybe not really connecting with that word, what that means. And yet, when you tap into the definition of divinity being the ability to transcend our perceived limitations. So here we have this innate intelligence within us, within each one of our human spirits to rise and to move past these limitations. That this is the divine nature that when we crack the code within us, that we can start to bloom and become unstoppable in how we share our gifts and talents with the world. And so, as we awaken to this deeper truth and we really reclaim our power, it's so important to realize that how our sovereignty has been hijacked, how our sovereignty is being hijacked to take away our power. And sovereignty is the dominion over our energy field. And we live in a world where we are being bombarded by pollutions, and microplastics, and chemicals, and onslaughting in our environment. But we're also being bombarded in a world where the technology through these frequencies are bombarding our human vessel. And we have in our world, in our bodies, not just this physical matter, but we're also electric magnetic beings. We're spiritual beings having this physical experience. And outside of us, which used to be called the aura, and these are woo-woo terms that we didn't have a connection to, we actually have a biofield that surrounds our body, which creates the intelligence and awareness of how to interact with our environment. And this biofield is one of the most important things for us to reclaim the sovereignty of ourselves, the sovereignty of our energy of field around us, and to recognize how this is being polluted with all of this technology. I had this epiphany. I know I'm going on and on here, but I had this epiphany while I was doing this conference, and we hear a lot about the ancient wisdom keepers talking about this time of prophecy, that we are in this time that has been talked about for millennia, this crossroads. And they talk about the time when the rainbow warriors would come back and to reclaim their state of humanity. And when I've learned about this biofield, and also through the work of William Henry, who talks about the rainbow body, how this emanating body is outside of us. We see it in artwork of Jesus pictures and different Buddhas and bodhisattvas having these rainbow bodies in art. I just gained this just aha moment of like, this is the rainbow warrior. Each one of us is a rainbow warrior when we reclaim this energy that is beyond just these physical bones and skin and matter. So reclaiming this sovereignty in ourselves, this dominion of our energy field, is so important for us to bring awareness to at this moment. So anywhere else you want to go with that, or
Yeah,
anything you want
look,
to
I
ask?
just want to say that just so resonates with me. People are being called to step up, embrace their unique gifts, follow their hearts to truly be a part of creating the world we want to be in. And part of that is having the tool set to do that. And so, like, what are you suggesting we do to ground ourselves and really remain connected to our purpose? Because there's so much going on in the external world that it's so easy to get derailed if you start focusing on the externals. But if we focus on the internals as a unique being with a unique gift, what do you suggest that we do to remain connected to our purpose and become part of the solution?
I love that because that is so key to refocusing within, right? And we have so much of focus on the exterior world that it's making us, you know, drained, insane, anxious. And when we bring in that attention within, that's actually where the power is that we can make a difference. So there's really important simple things that we know, but we'll just repeat them again over and over because we learn by repetition. What do we need to do to really take care of this temple? We really need fresh water. We need good rest. We need to feed this temple with wholesome, nourishing food that's filled with the rainbow of color. These are foods that don't have labels. They don't have ingredients in them that need to be described because we know what the apple is. We know what the mango is. We know what these pure food items that nature provides for us. And, part of the problem too, I see is how food is being mechanized and extracted and processed and packaged. And it's so far away from its garden creation in nature. So really connecting back with wholesome, good food that's grown by yourself or by your local farmers is so important. And also just tapping into how can we reconnect with nature? Nature is all around us. And the more we focus and pay attention and bring the currency of our awareness to nature, it is able to support us. And so those are simple things like, growing a garden or just sitting next to a tree or putting your feet in the babbling brook or, just going for a walk in nature, which is called forest bathing. And my doctor literally told me for my stress, I should go for a walk in the woods because it's literally shown through scientific means to reduce our depression, reduce our anxiety, reduce our blood pressure. It has a harmonizing, calming, regenerative effect. When we're next to those waterfalls and we're next to the ocean with the ionizing air, it's so supportive to the wholeness of our being. So, really getting out in nature is so important. And even if you can't get to nature, you're in a city and not a lot of nature around you, we all have the possibility to find some morsel of nature in our environment. May it be a bird, may it be a tree, may it be a flower, growing pots in our garden of basil in our windowsill to cook with, or just having houseplants that we can take care of. Reconnecting with um, our furry friends in our home and those plants, like all of those weaving our connection back is so important to keep that vitality and remembrance of who we are in this web of life. The other thing that is really important to keep ourselves connected into solutions because we live in a world of doom and gloom. There is catastrophes everywhere and we are, and I feel it. I feel the desperation. I feel the desperation in the youth's heart of, how are we going to survive this future? And this doom and gloom consciousness has to be um it's a rut. It's a rut and it's a deeply grooved in. So activating the neural pathway of joy, and we have a speaker who shares her expertise on that, is so important that we literally need to create the muscle to get ourselves out of the rut of doom and gloom into this neural pathway of joy and possibility and health and well-being. And that takes as well paying attention to what brings us joy. How does that feel in our body? And those are really, really crucial pieces of maintaining the essence and the valuable part of our human family, our joyful dancing around the fire, singing our songs, sharing our stories. These are the things that bring richness to our hearts as our human experience. So tending to this heart flame within us, creating art, creating beautiful food for our family, taking care of our loved ones. These are things that are going to restore um, our this human family and restore this fabric that is so needed at this time. And they're simple things. They're really simple things, but they're profound in their in the potential and the currency that when we pay attention to these things and really build these holistic bridges of health and well-being around us, that we can thrive. We can thrive and move into the possibilities of our future.
Oh, wow. They're all wonderful ideas. And, I just think we're putting that into the field. This whole confluence of around the virtual fire is putting all of that energy and all those ideas into the field. And I've seen it woven through all the talks. So that's just lovely. So I know that you've got some offerings to share with us. And we're going to close with a meditation. So, thank you, Liisa, for sharing your story. I know I'm inspired by it. And your broadness of vision and your capacity to really look at the hard things that a lot of us don't want to know about. I think it's really important. And so thank you for having the courage to go there. And yeah, so what have you got to share with us? What are
Oh,
your
thank
offerings?
you. Well, I want to reiterate too, really some of our solutions, our soul-led solutions for our time is reconnecting with our community. And so I just want to really give a shout out to you and thank you so much for your support on this adventure and being in this collective container with me. And also just want to just give my gratitude and love to all of the viewers and listeners who have come here and invested your time. It's really valuable, maybe potentially invested your resources for lifetime access. You are just really, really appreciated. And I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you being a diverse voice in this possibility for the future. So just really sending out lots of gratitude and thanks for that. And our community is important. It's an important part of how we're going to bring ourselves forward. So it's, taking care of our loved ones and our local gardens and our local farmers are a really important part to bring the respect and reciprocity back to our human family. And I am just so passionate about helping people crack that shell and activate their divine nature. And so I will be offering in the future, you have an opportunity to get on my list to fill out an application. I will be having a course of rooting your radical nature coming up. It will be a very small 4 module class for people who are just curious about, what does this mean to kind of crack into my divine nature? So that will be coming forward for the future for people to dive into. And also for people who are really just, they know what their contributions are, they know what their gifts are, and they just really need the support to get their messages out in the world. Love helping people tap into that and really create the action steps to become unstoppable in what they want to share. Each one of us is we need to come to the table because we need each one of us to bring our gifts and talent to the world to create the change that we want. So I was well in creating deeper exclusive coaching conversations for people who feel ready to take that bigger leap because they know where they're at. And both of those you can find out about by seeing my page online and filling out the application to step into a deeper conversation with me. And I'll be having some free destiny calls with those people who feel really called into this work and tapping into their deeper essence. And so with that, that's the sharing that I wanted to uh, let you all know about. And I just really want to also um yeah, just give everybody the possibility that, though things look really challenging out in the world right now, and there's a lot of breakdown happening, it is only through the breakdown that we're going to have the breakthrough. And each one of us coming to these conversations, feeling these possibilities, become the change agents of our. So I'm just really holding that space for each and every one of us to show up right now. You are so needed, and you're stepping into your own leadership role in this time is what is going to create the change that we need. And so let's stop outsourcing our power and our leadership and reclaim that for ourselves. So with that, I'm just sending so much love and just gratitude for all of the people in this conference and the speakers. And to close this session, I would love to invite people to a centering meditation. And as I go into this meditation, I'm going to, as we finish, I'm just going to push the end of record. So much love and blessings, and not come back and talk. So whoever wants to tap into this deeper kind of meditative state is able to stay there and just to kind of really soak in um, this meditation, just allowing ourselves to kind of tap into ourselves and connect with the earth. So I invite you all, if you are feeling ready, to I invite you all to take a moment to put everything to one side, allowing ourselves to just gently close our eyes and take a breath. Maybe feeling that breath as it moves in our body. Might need to wiggle our body a little bit to feel into that space, letting the breath move into maybe any place that feels like it needs attention. I've been doing a lot of listening. It's now the time to start to just come in and be. As we bring our breath and awareness into our heart space, allowing our attention to move deeper into our body, into that deeper, wider center in between our hips, where our generative force ebbs and flows. Just allowing that deeper, wider center, how that feels in your body, coming out of the head, down into the heart, down into the body. And then just allowing our attention to move down our legs, down to the soles of our feet. Just allowing our feet to feel, touch on Mother Earth, maybe some sacred landscape that you love and feel connected to. May it be the beach or a meadow or the river. And just feeling this nature around you in your mind's eye, connected to this place. And then bringing our attention out of the soles of our feet, allowing our roots to grow deep into the earth, growing and twisting and winding around the mycelial network, this web of life between underneath our feet, this intelligence of nature. Informing us and our being, and allowing our roots to grow deeper past our ancestors' bones, feeling the generations and generations and generations that have come before us, that have allowed for us to be here, living creative beings at this time. Just giving thanks to our ancestors. And then allowing our roots to grow deeper, deeper into Mother Earth, wrapping around her core, just feeling deeply anchored, centered. and held. Feeling this deeply anchored, centered, rooted connection with Mother Earth, just feeling the gratitude that she has for us being here. She is so thankful that we are here dancing and drumming and singing and sharing our stories and feeling this human experience. Just feeling this gratitude, Mother Earth coming up our roots, through our body, into our heart, feeding our heart flame. And with each morsel of more gratitude, that fire growing brighter, and feeling our attention grow out our branches, out to the tips of our leaves, extending to the sky, the sun, moon, and stars above, connecting to that greater cosmic energy, that wisdom, that great mystery of the stars that we have danced with for millennia. Feeling this connection with the Creator, and just allowing this beautiful starlight, solar energy to rain down upon us, on our leaves as we gather this cosmic connection into ourselves. Allowing this energy to come down our branches and mingle in our heart. Feeling the connection of as above, so below, as without, so within. Here in the sanctuary of the Holy of Holies, this temple of the heart, the core of our being, where we have courage, allowing this energy, the earth and sky, to mingle, allowing our heart flame to grow a little brighter. And as we feel this heart flame growing brighter, just notice the sense of where your body is and what direction is the east. You might want to face the east or just in your mind's eye, just noticing where the sun rises, where this energy of the east is, this the dawn, this beginning of life, our youth, our childhood, the east represented with the air, the winged ones, the new beginnings and possibilities, the inspiration, our first breath of life, being part of this creation, being in spirit. And then bringing in the intention of the south, the sacred fire, the noonday sun, where we grow, our vitality expands, we become adolescents and maturing. This brilliant noonday sun that's warm, fire. That's our desires and our creativity, our passions we can tend to. Using this creative fire to share our love and gifts and passions. And bringing our attention to the west, to the water, oh, the sacred water, the setting sun. as we grow and mature into adulthood. Our dreams and intuition coming from the water, this sacred nourishment of life, the sacred elixir of life, every molecule being remembered through our bodies, recycled and restored and regenerated. Over and over again, this beautiful water with so much intelligence. And then allowing our attention to move to the north, to this nighttime, these wise elder years, the earth energy, to move into this more winter time and hibernation, that deep earth energy, where the bones of our ancestors lay, and these paths, these trails that they have laid down for us to follow, the sacred ways of the bear and the buffalo and the plant medicine. And it's giving thanks for these lessons that our ancestors have planted on this trail for us to remember. And here in this sacred hoop, the four directions connected with the earth and the sky, come to our heart flame, tapping into our deepest desires, allowing them to grow brighter within us. And feeling my heart flame connected to your heart flame, connected to all of these wisdom keepers and truth seekers around this fire, for all of the ones who are sharing the messages and listening to the messages and sharing the messages that you listen to, the rippling effect these conversations have in our world, sending out so much love and gratitude for our human family, for gathering around this virtual fire. And holding all the sacredness of this in our heart, we give thanks for all that has been, that is, and that ever will be. So much love and gratitude. Blessings to you all.